Blessings, everyone. This is Pine Grove News Live. It's 6 o'clock on the dot. It's Wednesday, and coming from the East Coast, Southern New England, Northern Connecticut, and 78 degrees. I mean, I just love the weather that we're getting, but it's just not normal. It's not. Nothing normal about it. 78 in June, yeah, that's all right. Tomorrow. First, let's go see if we're alive on YouTube. So YouTube channel PGN Live, and maybe we're not. Yeah, it's not showing me being live. So go check this out and see what the problem is. It says that I'm live. Anyway, I don't know what's going on. So, I don't know. But yeah, okay, so now I got it live. Everything's good. All right, so what I was talking about is our weather, 78 degrees. And you know what tomorrow's going to be? Tomorrow is going to be 20 degrees lower than the normals for June. 20 degrees. It's only supposed to reach 60 tomorrow. We're going to have some rain come around late morning, early afternoon, but it's only supposed to be 60 degrees. I mean, heck, a couple weeks ago we were only reaching 65, 62. So definitely not normal here, and I know the West Coast is frying right now. Let's see if I can find that article. Reported, yeah, right here. Let's go right here to End Time Headlines. So over in the West Coast, 120 degrees. World Watchman, who's over there in Northern California, I had to tell me, 169, of course, it's in his tin roof shed. And it was 124 degrees in the shade. So, what's going on? And of course, they're officially, I think, in the fire season over there. Even though the grass is still a little bit green, World Watchman says that one problem is that it's, because the cattle aren't grazing on it, and that's, why it's left there. Makes sense. It's 5 feet, 6 feet high. Pretty darn high. So this unprecedented U.S. weather chaos continues. Yeah, you remember that saying, right? 500 days until weather chaos. Exactly what he said. I believe it was a congressman or something like that. Okay, so more record-setting flooding in the east. That's for us. So global weather patterns are dramatically shifting. We know that. We've known it for a long time. Week after week, we keep seeing things happen that we have never seen before. You hear a lot of people saying that. Some woman said, some elderly woman, maybe she was 80, in her 80s or something, and she has said that, this weather is just, she has never seen things like this before. Going to be 60 soon, have never seen some of these things. I haven't seen a June like this in my 60 years. So whatever's going on is going on. I mean, the Lord's will be done. Period. All right. So with that, we're going to talk about some new findings that they're talking about on the moon, from the moon. We're going to talk about four different diseases that are outbreaks out there. Dengue fever, scarlet fever, Ebola, and measles. Okay, and you're going to find some shocking information, shocking similarities, and most of that will be on the video. We're going to cover some things. So, and I also heard just now before I went on. I mean, William Mount put out a video talking about CERN. His title was CERN gone mad. And so I haven't heard much of anything about CERN in a while. Okay, and they have all kinds of hadron colliders around the world for whatever reason. The devil, wants his due. He's trying to change the times. Where is that familiar? Change the times and their seasons. I mean, where is that? Is that in Daniel? Is that in Revelation? Yeah, he knows that he has a short season, short time here, and he's trying to stop time. I don't know how you do that, but things that going on over there at CERN, who apparently have been around since the 50s, came out with the internet in the 80s, and what else have they got that they're not going to tell us? Well, they're talking about, William Mount was talking about CERN and, the God particle that they were looking for, which they found years ago. Of course, I forget his name at the moment, but very big speaker on strangelets and other things that the CERN collider has found. Well, I think the strangelet is the God particle, but I'm not definitely sure. But apparently, opening up portals maybe. If that thing does exist. I mean, a lot of people, it's on their minds. They think that it does. So, whatever. I mean, I can't prove it and I can't disprove it. So, time will tell. Time will tell. So, they're talking about stargates now and, wormholes. And the big thing I got out of that article was that Satan's number. What is Satan's number? What does he go by? What's the number of man? Man's number. 666, right? Or apparently, according to this article and according to CERN, they found out that it's not the 666. It's 616. And I'm going to leave it there because I really do not know how to explain that at the moment. But I do know in Revelation 13:18, and this is where the 666 comes in. But just listen to the verse and you think for yourself, okay? Revelation 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. I don't know anywhere in there. Maybe it's in a passage up or a passage below. I mean, a verse, but it does not mention Satan's name. I'm just going to go there just for a second and see, in context. Kind of splits between 17 and 18. 18 actually, let me get to the right one first. Let's go to, 18 is actually the ending of, and it's broken down. The second beast actually starts in Revelation 13:11. And the first verse I'll just read, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, or spoke. And then the end we just read, here is wisdom. Let him that understand and count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So discern for yourself. I'm looking kind of in the middle of all that too, and I don't see Satan mentioned. I see the beast mentioned. So, anyways, is 666 in Revelation 13:18 speaking of the beast or of Satan? Is Satan the beast? Is the beast system? You know, this world system that they're all talking about? Who knows? We'll have to discern that. That's, in prayer. We won't be found lacking knowledge, right? We're to learn everything that we can, and prove everything. So, those are the records, okay? This week, new record high temperatures have been established in the city after city, and this includes San Francisco. The airport reached its highest temperature ever recorded in the month of June, 100 degrees. 100 degrees readings occur in September in the Bay Area. Previously, daily record for June 10th is 94 degrees. I mean, 6 degrees is significant, but so that's what's going on over in the East Coast. I mean, West Coast. East Coast, we're going to get more rain. Like anybody needs more rain. And there's some places do need rain, and they're not going to get it. A lot of strange things going on around us. I mean, I know Never Lose Truth today was talking about frequencies again. The extremely low frequencies, ultra low frequencies. And she put out a video. I think I have it queued up. I don't know if I'm going to play it because I'm going to save it for another topic, and maybe that will be tomorrow. Friday or tomorrow. Talk about these frequencies. And 5G, the frequencies, what they do to us. Basically, you're going to learn about Tesla too, frequencies there, and the free energy, and so on and so forth. Most of it we already know. But you know that they can with this HARP, okay, with this HARP program, and I don't know what else, they call it something else now. But they can easily direct these HARP energies, plasma balls, whatever you want to call it, DEWs, direct energy weapons, and pinpoint it. They bounce it off the ionosphere or whatever, the atmosphere, and direct it to come down in a place where they want. And they have been, there are conspiracies out there because guess there's some data either way, whether they can cause an earthquake or not. Just think about it. With the type of weapons that they have that we know about, just imagine what kind of weaponry or tools that they have that we don't know about. Those are the ones that we should be praying on, because I just feel it in my bones that at any time that they want to, they can go and set off that whole West Coast. They can set off the San Andreas Fault, the Cascadias, and all the other earthquake-prone areas on the West Coast. They can basically just shake that thing apart and separate it. They did come out with a movie, and I know we talked about this before. I still don't remember the name of the movie, but there was a movie where this did happen, and California split away from the continent. You actually saw this happen in this movie. Yeah. God bless, Hen. Good to see you again. So so I don't know. Maybe somebody else knows the name of that movie, but it's been a while, and I think I've only seen it once. I couldn't even tell you really who was in it. But you know, Hollywood, they 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 put out these movies and they put in these things because they either have to or whatever it is, but they tell you what they're going to do. They tell you in these movies, in these shows, whatever. That's how they subtly tell you. Most of the time, you can't find out until it's over. But, so, you know, anyway, just like the Lord, you know, He will tell His people what He's going to do. He's told us in many prophecies, few books. Just need to ask, you know, the Holy Spirit to teach you what those are. And you know that when you follow Jesus and your heart is changed, and then everything else there afterwards, the first thing that we do, right, is talk about Jesus. Talk about what He's done, talk about what He's doing for you, in you. And what we do is prophesy. We're prophesying of Jesus' second coming, of why He came here in the first place, and why He's coming back, and, you know, basically the season or the times when He's coming back. And we prophesy. He said that we would, and we do that. So let's go on with some other weather here. This is from the Watchers. And yeah, I don't know if you know it, but California, PNG, I guess it's called, not PGN, not me, PNG, the electric company out there, gave warnings a couple days ago of power outages. I don't know if I talked about it in the last video or not, but and that goes on, you know, and it probably will. I just don't get why they're doing it. But in any case, there are people, you know, that are going to be without power with this temperature, that as high as it is. They're going to cause some deaths. So from the Watchers, 350,000 customers without power. One person killed as powerful storm hits Texas. We hear a lot about Texas these days, don't we? I don't know if I selected this one, but you can see right on the right-hand page. And that's why I only give you one link when I use the Watchers or any other particular site, you know, more than once or twice. I'll just leave the one link because it has all the stuff that I'm talking about right on the right-hand side. The brutal hailstorms that hit Germany, severe damage, several people injured. And we're going to talk about this 300,000 evacuating ahead of tropical storm Value. One right here. They're evacuating in India as hurricane strength tropical cyclone approaches. Yeah, and it wasn't Oman. It was Yemen. Yemen is under the water now too. So this cyclone, which is barreling towards northwest India and expected to make landfall in the next 24 hours. Let me see how old this one is. Okay, this came out today, so you know, could be happening right now. These things are usually, you know, I try to get them within hours of when they're happening, but most likely most of them, because I only do, you know, I skip a day every other day. So these things may have already happened. So this is still probably happening. I haven't seen any other reports, so I'm sure they're going through it right now. So 300,000 people to be evacuated in 700 shelter homes. With winds in excess of 75 miles per hour, that's a Cat 1 hurricane, okay, if it was a hurricane. So tropical cyclone Value could become the strongest cyclone to strike northwestern India in decades. I don't know how they rate theirs, but 75 mile per hour is sustained wind is a Category 1 here for the Atlantic region anyway. So it comes 1 month after the powerful tropical cyclone Fani slammed into India's northeastern coastline. They're not going to let up, people. They're not letting up this stuff. And especially, what was it, yesterday? Was it yesterday we started officially our hurricane season? Could have been as much as, it could have been Monday. No, I think it was yesterday, Tuesday. We'll go with that. Go with that. And we just talked about this heat. Well, I guess that's enough for the weather. Aren't you? Are you getting tired of the weather? I'm going to keep reporting the weather. You know, it's very important to see the frequency and the veracity of what's going on, because we are to watch, and things, you know, progressively, we're told that it's like a woman's birth pains. They come in slow increments, this pain, and then it increases till, you know, a child is born. Doesn't let up. So we're watching that. So again, in the news is Republican Ilhan Omar slammed bigoted Trump administration for barring pride flag from foreign embassies. I don't understand some of the why these news titles get out there. I do understand. I really don't know why I'm saying it, being sarcastic, I guess. Still have that in me. So in any case, yeah. I also heard today that, I don't know, was it in this other article? Yeah, I'll wait till I get to that then. What they did with this pride flag that they have some need to fly everywhere. They want it to fly on the Capitol buildings. They want it to fly on the embassies, especially the foreign embassies. Why? Why do we need to announce that we're crazy enough to hold this thing up so high? This, you know, gay pride thing, and tell every country in the world. You know, they didn't hate us before. Well, they already knew. So anyways, this Omar has accused the Trump administration of being bigoted. I mean, can you be bigoted over not wanting to fly a gay, you know, what do you call it? Idol? Can you be bigoted against that? Can you be bigoted against the LGBTQ thing? I mean, that's what that's what they want to happen. That's what they want you to be accused of, I guess. So these reports that the U.S. embassies have had requests to fly the rainbow flag denied. Yeah, we talked about this Monday. I remember hearing it. June is Pride Month. Yeah. We all know about what happens with Pride, don't we? I go with before fall. Most of the time, right? Pride is not a good thing. It really is not. I used to have a real lot of it. A whole lot. Big amount. Humongous. Thank the Lord for shaking me of most of that. So promoting the visibility for the LGBTQ community. Are they going to add another letter sometime? Or what? And the U.S. embassies in Israel, Germany, Brazil, and Latvia made requests to the Trump administration to fly the flag on the official embassy flagpole in honor of Pride. What does the LGBTQ have to do with the normal Pride? Somebody answer me that. Maybe I'm, you know, I don't know, have my eyes closed to this. In any case, Israel, I heard that Netanyahu did not want it up there. He refused to let it fly. So according to the NBC News, All know about who NBC is, right? Those requests were denied by the State Department. This is another blatant example of this administration's bigotry and discrimination against the LGBTQIA. There you go, more letters. Plus community. Republican Omar tweeted on Monday in response to the news. And I didn't put this out there. I don't have a title for it, but Pelosi has definitely lost control of the Democrats. Apparently it's official. So anyway, that's all good. And you know what? There's all kinds of things that I could put out there about the goings-ons with this LGBTQ thing and their gay parades and all this stuff, man. I saw or heard one the other day, and I don't normally listen to them. I just flip them aside and go to it, but for some reason, I listened to this one for about 5 minutes. And in these parades, I mean, yeah, I understand that they're walking around with their flag and you know, screeching equality and all this other stuff. But why do you have to have naked old men in this parade? Isn't that still illegal that you can't go around being naked? I mean, isn't that, most people will get arrested for that. Wouldn't they not? They'd be arrested for it and put on some kind of list. But there's pictures. There were pictures taken, and parents who bring their children to these things should be arrested or fined for abuse. They should be looked at. To bring your little children, and I saw 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and younger. And I even seen in one picture this boy, he must have been 6, 7, just happened to come face to face with this man who only had on chaps. Okay, they were just covering the outer 2 legs. And this, I don't know how they got the picture, but this boy looked totally disgusted and looked like he was ready to throw up. How that is possible is beyond me. And I know, yes, the world sees everything that is evil good, and good is evil, and it is in the Bible. It says that this would happen. And yes, people, you know, I guess we can go and say that the Lord gave them strong delusion, their own delusion, think that this is somehow right. I'm telling you, I'm half smiling right here, you know, because with all these things going on, days of Lot, you know, Noah's days, I mean, we're here. Jesus is going to come soon. There's not many things left. According to the prophecies, Jesus will be here soon. And these people will pay. And you know what? I won't be here. That's my hope. The Lord says I won't be here. And so I trust in him, and I have my hope and my faith in that. And I'm going to be whisked out of here, as well as my other brothers and sisters, and then we will be with Christ. We will be with Jesus. And they can leave all this darkness below us, out of the way. And then when the Lord decides to come back and step on this earth one more time, all of that will be gone, burnt up by fire. I'm sorry, but I'm a little excited about that. I don't know if that's weird or not, but I don't know. That's where I'm coming from. But anyway, listen. So yeah, pride flag. This is another one. Replaces the POW MIA flag at Montgomery County Executive Building in Maryland. They've taken down the black flag with the white, MIA POW flag, and replace it with this rainbow flag. We're almost there, people. We're almost there, brothers and sisters. I look forward to meeting you all. I look forward to a lifetime of fellowship in the presence of God. Look very much forward to it. New York lawmakers introduce a first statewide bill to decriminalize sex work. And briefly, I just had to figure, I had to ask myself, sex work? I mean, are they just trying to be vague here or what? And obviously they are. And they've been trying to pass this. They're trying to pass it somewhere else, or maybe it was the same story. But New York, go figure, and they're just way too close to me. They're way too close to me, man. This is all going to spill out of the cities and come, just span out from there. I mean, it's happening in California too. It's happening in a lot of places. Yeah. Yeah, they want to legalize prostitution and any other kind of sex work, whatever that means. So, how close are we? Yeah, first of its kind bill to decriminalize sex work throughout the state on Monday. The top violence in the Sex Trade Acts is a legislative package that decriminalizes, and I don't know what this word means, decarcerates. Maybe that means let people out who have been arrested for it already. Lets them out of prison. Is that what that means? I'm just taking a guess. The sex trade in New York, according to a press release from the organizers at the Destrum New York Coalition. If passed, it would be the first measure in the county to legalize prostitution statewide. Yeah, so sex work is work. Is it really? I thought the Lord gave us those feelings and relationships for pleasure. It was never for work. And so again, Satan has taken what God has made beautiful and turned it upside down to make it work. Okay, folks, don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's being flipped upside down. Satan has tried to copy everything the Lord has made that was good. And when he went through those days of creation, everything that he made was good. And I think when he made man, it was very good. We were made in his image. Very good. Okay, let's move on. Pair of earthquakes rattle East Tennessee. Tried to talk to somebody the other day, but I missed them. Just go over there at Shepherd's. I believe him, or maybe even Jules, live in Tennessee. You live in Tennessee now, Hen, too? You say you live in Tennessee, and you're going overseas now again, right? And anyway, so according to reports from a local affiliate out of Tennessee, 2 earthquakes rattled East Tennessee Tuesday morning. They're small ones, but yeah, 1.6, that's pretty small. I mean, we had a 2-pointer here in Connecticut years back. I was in a car in a McDonald's drive-through, Georgia. Okay, thank you, Hen. Any earthquakes going on in Georgia? Diverse places, man. They're happening everywhere. So yeah, so I was in the drive-through. Actually, I had just passed through the drive-through. I stopped, I guess, to look for the bag, and the car just started moving side to side. I mean, not forward and back. I mean, that I probably could understand maybe, but I was moving side to side, slowly, not quickly, but slowly. So I knew that I was sitting there, experiencing an earthquake. But obviously, none of Not yet. Yeah, not yet. That's right. I wouldn't plan on not expected one. I expect one somewhere where it isn't normally. Yeah, see. POW, sex work. Yeah. Okay, earthquakes. Oh, yeah. And of course, we've heard this many times over there in the Middle East. Biblical swarm of a million locusts devastate 5,000 acres of crops in Sardinia. Yeah, these locusts, they're crop eaters. Yeah, they'll eat everything green. Million locusts. So there goes those crops, right? 5,000 acres of crops. Y'all hear what the target is in these storms and hurricanes and locusts, these other things. It's our crops. It's our food that we, need to eat. We can all pray, extra on that provisions won't be affected by Satan's black, dark personality. 5,000 acres. Wow. And it's not the first time that they've been over there. They're pretty sure they've been in Israel already, maybe even Pakistan. This, let's see, devastating swarm locusts, up to 5,000 acres of crops and livestock in Sardinia. They didn't eat the livestock. It could probably devastate the livestock if it didn't have anything to eat afterwards. But so the attack of a carpets of locusts is being described as a biblical invasion by an Italian newspaper. For the plague of short-horned grasshoppers, it's thought to be one of the worst in 60 years and has caused havoc across farms and homes in the central province of Nurio. In this statement, the Italian Farm Association, Coldiretti, stated that there was up to 1 million locusts, in the countryside. Yeah, so locusts emerged on a cultivated land, but they go to cultivated land to what happened to livestock? Said the insects had been devouring everything they encounter and had even left animals. Okay, that's it. Just without grassland. Yeah, they just took our food. They don't. I haven't heard of man eating locusts yet. Okay, I've heard of the locusts that come out of the ground and sting like scorpions, but that's subject. That's for another time. Okay. All right. So before we get to this Ebola thing, here's a strange little article, and it's from the Daily Star. So it's kind of like I guess it's in Britain. It's kind of like a tabloid type magazine. At least that's the last time I knew. But I mean, they do talk about a subject that has been talked about and the same reason that they're mentioning. So something is not right. Mystery. As mass 5 times the size of Hawaii found under a moon crater. I've never heard this before. I've heard about some of the consequences of this mass, maybe. I mean, they're saying that it's metal. It's 5 times larger than Hawaii, and it's buried under the south pole of the moon. And I guess somebody made a comment one time, I don't know, one of those fake moon landings, or maybe when they detonated a nuke on the moon, it rang like a bell. I mean, that's the statement. It rang like a bell. And so they're saying that this metal that they've detected, this mound of metal, maybe why it rung. And they're still researching it, obviously. And for some reason, everybody wants to go back to the moon. I mean, the Chinese, been there. Israel, been there, or at least crashed there. Um, but there's talk about going back to the moon. We can't get past the Van Allen belt again for once. For one, okay? They have, unless, you know, there's an article out there somewhere that I haven't seen. They have not been able to get past that Van Allen belt. It's a radiation belt that just kills people. It's not, it's a barrier. Even the old Sumerian text talked about this story that they made up with the Anunnaki and all that. Even the one person, and I don't know what their name was or what they're calling them, came with a ship and found this barrier. Okay, the barrier is supposedly that this entity claimed, that he or she couldn't get through, but managed to anyway, and crashed on the earth. Anyways, that is a story. I think it's just that, a story, a way to explain whatever. The fallen angels coming back. And I mean, because a lot of the fallen angels, and you know that story about Genesis, and a lot of these gods that Egyptians and other peoples who worship these fallen angels because they could do things, obviously, and they couldn't explain them, so they considered them gods. And that's how you get the gods of these ancient gods, because they came here and they showed themselves, and they mated with women, okay, and produced giants, and that's another story, and they somehow survived the flood. In that story of the flood, it does mention that the Nephilim of that time, giants, were there before the flood and after. So, anyways, I don't understand this big thing kick to get back to the moon, maybe to mine it or whatever. I mean, there's still all kinds of conspiracy theories and other theories and assumptions and whatever about the moon. We won't get into that. And then they want to go to Mars, and supposedly this, the stories behind that we won't get into. Somebody's already there, or somebody's been there, or that used to be one estate, and somehow it got hit with something, and so they came to Earth. You can go on and on about these things, man. There's a lot of stuff out there to get lost in. It certainly is. Taking my time. I went on my rabbit holes, and some of them were really not good for me. I don't suggest that people, once you find yourself going down that hole in it, you feel, you do get a feeling. And the feeling is that I got was, anyway, that the further I went down a hole, the further I felt away from God. And that's when you can tell that you're down the wrong rabbit trail, okay, down the wrong hole. You got to get out of there. Stop and go back. I don't know, maybe it'll come after practice, after you've been down there and you found out what it does to you. I can only mention it now, hoping that, that somebody doesn't go down that rabbit hole. It's easy to do. You can get lured into it pretty quick, but you can also learn or use discernment from the Holy Spirit, whether you should continue on or just stay learning what you're supposed to be learning the Bible. Okay, so with that, we're going to talk about one last time, I guess. I don't know. This Ebola thing, okay? I mean, this Ebola thing, this measles. Now you got the dengue in LA and other places. Got scarlet fever. I don't know. I'm looking at the time. I don't think I'm going to get into videos, or I'm going to go through them, but I'm going to go through it very quickly. Okay, measles, scarlet fever, dengue. What was the other one? Scarlet fever and Ebola. Okay, they all have similar symptoms, at least within the first couple of days. At least with Ebola, within the first couple of days, you get this rash. And I'm trying to figure out which video that was in. Yeah, right here. Let's go right here. So right here, you get 4 different ones. Okay, and the problem is that they all, it looks the same. Especially to somebody who's not trained in these things, who's not a nurse or LPN or whatever, you really can't tell the difference. Especially maybe if you're work 14 hours and or something else is going on, you've got some big huge crisis in there or something. You could take this Ebola. If somebody comes in there and has that, you just think it's the measles, and so that's okay, right? Of course, we eradicated measles here, and now it's back. And not only back, it's worldwide. There's an explosion of the measles. And the thing we got to think about is it has the same or similar, what do you call it, symptoms as Ebola, as dengue, as scarlet fever. So all I'm saying, people, is that remember that in Matthew 24, when Jesus talks about pestilences and famines, that this may very well be, one of these things that could be and is worldwide. If Ebola comes into, because there was 350 men or people from the Congo area that came across our border in the San Antonio Valley. Okay, 350 people from the Congo area that were led into this country. Now, that's just the ones we know about. And about the explosion of measles in this country. It may not be just the measles. It may be Ebola. And Ebola, you can do well with Ebola within the first couple days. If it goes on into, because the detection period is between 2 and 21 days. If you catch it within those 2-day period, or you see the rash and it hasn't been long, you can be cured of that. But if it gets into that lingering period, a week, 21 days, it's a 90% death rate. And measles, somewhere in this video or another video, it talks about measles killing as well. I mean, I haven't heard many deaths about measles, but somewhere along the line, somebody has mentioned that measles could be deadly. I mean, so can these other ones. I mean, dengue is already in Los Angeles? Because, due to, mainly, I guess, because of the homeless people and the sanitary conditions and whatnot. But the thing is that there's a lot of things that we're not being told, probably won't be told. See this one from the Watchers. Ebola virus disease spreads to Uganda now. It's not just in the Congo anymore. It's in the Uganda. It's also in America. I'm sure it's in other places as well. It's and for lack of starting some kind of chaos, and they won't mention it. They won't. I mean, look at this one. This is the one. This is from Florida Maquis, I guess. He's got this video out there. It's 17 minutes, and he's talking about, because Japan is going to host the Olympics in, I guess it's 1 year, pretty soon. And so, for some whacked out, distorted, stupid move, the Japanese have imported the Ebola. Okay, Don't ask me to explain it. I'm listened to these two things twice already, and you can't really explain it. I mean, they just did it because they're going to have a lot of people there. Um, yeah, can somebody please explain what the mentality of that? You're going to have all these people there, so you're going to bring in something you don't know about, Ebola, into a place to study it when there's an unprecedented number of people in their going to be in Japan for these Olympics. Utilize lethal pathogens under strict control to contain infectious diseases. That's the title there from the Japanese news. And that's what these idiots want to do with that. Let me see if I can. Anything else we really need to touch on? I don't want to go into this whole thing. What else is he going to tell me? You get the symptoms, you get the increase, you get some good data in here, how it spread, and this, if you see this, on YouTube, you can see this. It's a little, it's like a Home Depot temporary fence. It's called a snow fence. So that's what Florida Maquis is calling it. And they use this with that gap in between to separate the Ebola victims or the Ebola people who have contracted the disease and the ones who haven't on the other side. And they figure that that's a safe distance, and this snow fence is going to keep this Ebola away from this person. I mean, if you look back into how this thing is spread, one of them is from insects and or animals. Just say it, if you get bit by a mosquito and you happen to have Ebola, I mean, this mosquito could fly, 2 blocks away and then bite somebody else. And now that person has Ebola. You understand? So this snow fence is just a joke. I think it's just for, just for the eyes. It makes no sense whatsoever what they're doing. Makes no sense them importing Ebola at a time when there were going to be literally the world is going to be in Japan in these Olympics. So Ebola ravaged Congo, now hit with 87,000 suspected measles cases, officials say. And who's to say that it's not measles? It may be presented as measles with that same rash that, shows up with with the other three, with the Ebola, scarlet fever, and the dengue. What if it's Ebola? If this thing spreads and you get to the point where you can't be treated anymore, again, it's a 90% mortality rate. What does the Georgia Guidestone say? What do they say if the power goes out in the United States? If we were hit purposely with an EMP or hit by coronal mass ejection from the sun and it causes an EMP, which has happened before, what's going to happen? What does everyone, I would say everyone that I've heard from, say would happen is that 90% of the population would die within the first year. They would die of starvation and other people, fighting for food. 90% of the population would be eliminated within the first year. This Ebola holds the same promise, 90% mortality rate. So if it's going out there, dressed as the measles, and it's something else, if it's this, we need to pray. There's really nothing else we can do. I mean, we could spread this word, make sure people, buy these masks or wear gloves. Don't touch stuff if you go to the store, like the handles on the what do you call them, the carts. Make sure you have that stuff. They even have it here in the store. They have this stuff, disinfectant that you put on. Make sure you get in the habit of doing those things. I'm the type of person, you know, I'm not that worried about it, but I should be. I mean, I don't normally, I work in a nursing home. These elderly folks sometimes have things, and of course, other things are brought in, and there's all kinds of diseases or things like that in a nursing home, and I just pay no attention to it. A lot of people walk around, everything they touch, they go and got these things next to the doors and squirt it to disinfect it, rub it on your hand. But I think we all really should start practicing that. If this is going on and if this is true, then why not? Just bend a little bit. Change your routine ever so slightly to make sure a lot of these things is sanitary conditions. Look at the dengue in LA with the rat infestation there and so on. That's why they have the dengue there, supposedly, because the unsanitary conditions and the amount of people, homeless people, is growing. There's homeless everywhere. There's still people in Houston who don't have homes. And look at Texas being, struck again. Look at the center of the country and all this water being mixed with oil and gas and other chemicals. There is so much stuff out there, man. It could go bad very quickly. And, if that's the Lord's will, then so be it. We can only do what we can do, right? So if we can, you want to wear gloves, you want to carry around some disinfectant wipes, and I try to do that, but never use them. Just keep forgetting about it. If you're in a crowded place like a nursing home, I think a lot of people should wear masks. It's something we could do to prevent it. Other than that, I mean, prayer. We absolutely, positively need prayer. But I'm going to leave these links because I don't have the time to go over them right now. He does a very good job, Florida Maquis does, collecting data on this and articles that are so pertinent to the data and to what he's talking about and what's happening and what they're not telling you. You really should know. And so, yeah, there's some other things in here that we're not going to talk about right now. Still got videos to work on, other stuff to do. So with that, everyone, I hope I at least scared you enough to go out and, get these disinfectant wipes. Stop touching things that you know might be handled by many people. Look at our money, man. Our money has touched so many people and goes to so many people. What are we going to do about the money? Maybe they'll come out and say, well, this is a reason why we should all be forced with vaccines so that the Ebola, won't spread and you won't die. And that we should, have this beast system or this RFID chip in your right hand or your forehead so that, you don't have to touch the money and you won't get diseases and killed. I mean, they could definitely use all that for their benefit to bring in this New World Order, which I believe Revelation says is going to happen anyway. Doesn't mean that we're going to be here for it, but I think it does say it's going to happen. Unfortunate, those people who are here are going to need some kind of spiritual help to get through all that. So with that, everyone, let's just keep in contact with each other. Let's, go to fellowship. Fellowship is very important. We can lift each other up. We can, if we're not feeling too good ourselves, we can go and hopefully it's relatively easy. People know. Good Christians, they know when things are going on with you. And they're the most generous, brothers and sisters that I have around me now. They're just very caring and loving. And I just hope that for all you and your families, that you stop your arguing, stop your contentious remarks, and just forgive each other. And because, it's just important, very important. Family is important. The body of Christ is important, the most important besides Jesus. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I will see you Friday unless something comes up that needs to be spoke of, or I just, want to ramble on again. So, God bless you all, man. Peace out.